Dinosaur will take a nap while Spear takes the opportunity to swim and relax a bit. While diving, he notices the shadow of some silhouettes walking on the surface and scales the rock where Fang was standing to check what it is. Realizing that his friend is no longer there, the man decides to follow the tracks and enters the forest. At that moment, he is hit on the head and faints. When he wakes up, Spear realizes that he has ended up in an arena full of monkeys and Fang is by his side. Both are tied up in such a way that they cannot even move. The elderly monkey declares the beginning of the battle, in which 5 gorillas will fight to the death and only one will be the winner. As the duel begins, a real massacre takes place and the gorillas end up eliminating each other until only 2 of them are left standing. After a sequence of crazy punches, he is declared the champion, who will have the right to drink the sacred liquid that gives him the true strength of a warrior. Fang will be the next challenger to this monster and is determined to survive so that she can get her friend out of that place. However, T-Rex doesn't stand a chance against that troglodyte and faints after taking the first blow. Upon waking up, she continues to try to win the fight, but ends up getting beaten until she can no longer stand up. By this time, Spear is desperate to see his companion on the verge of death and manages to break through the vine with his teeth. After breaking free, the human jumps on top of his enemy and attacks one of his eyes. When he realizes that he will never be able to defeat him, he decides to go after the sacred liquid and is pursued by the monkeys. However, the caveman is faster and, after eliminating the elder, takes all the drink. The primates begin to attack him, but are unable to contain the effects of the potion. Spear turns into a real titan and attacks the gorilla that is about to eliminate Fang. The 2 monstrous-looking creatures challenge each other, but Spear manages to defeat his opponent easily, tearing off its arms. He then uses his limbs to crush the rest of the animal's body. Upon seeing this brutal scene, the monkeys unite to attack the enemy, and when they realize that they will not be able to defeat him, they decide to flee. However, Spear will not let what those demented did to Fang go unpunished, and decides to wreak havoc by eliminating every individual who comes his way. Minutes later, the place becomes a real war field, with bodies strewn everywhere, and Spear appears in the middle of them. He has now recovered his true body and rushes to see how Fang is doing. Apparently, his partner did not survive the attack, which causes the human great anger and despair. However, while mourning the death of his only friend, Spear gets a nice surprise, as the T-Rex begins to breathe. After giving water to his injured partner, the man makes some mud to cover her wounds. He knows that in those conditions Fang will not be able to get up, but he must find a way to get her out of that place surrounded by vultures. So he has the idea to use some bamboos and vines that are nearby to make a stretcher and drag the dinosaur away from there. After digging out all the sand next to the animal's body, Spear starts the work, and within a few hours he is able to finish the stretcher. Now the challenge is to push Fang's gigantic body onto the bamboo bed, but after much effort, he manages to accomplish yet another mission. With great difficulty, the Neanderthal drags his partner out of that graveyard and walks slowly through the forest. When he finally finds a lake, he decides to take a break and uses his injured hands to give the dinosaur water. As soon as the sun goes down, the man notices the presence of wolves in the area and decides to set up some fires around Fang to prevent them from approaching. At dawn, Spear finds another way to carry his companion and ties vines around his body to drag the stretcher. In this way, his hands don't get hurt as badly. All along the way, the duo is followed by wolves that lie in wait, just waiting for the right moment to attack. After several miles of walking, Spear finds a cave where he can finally rest until Fang recovers. His only concern is the wolves that surround the place. During the night, the man falls asleep and when he wakes up, he realizes that the place is surrounded by mutant cockroaches. Immediately, he runs to get the bugs off the dinosaur's body and realizes that the bugs have a hard shell on their back. Therefore, he has to drive the spear into its belly to eliminate them. After getting rid of the creatures, the man takes the opportunity to serve them to Fang as a snack, since he cannot go out hunting. When the water reservoir runs out, Spear needs to go to the nearest lake and closes the cave entrances to prevent the wolves from entering. Sometime later, T-Rex hears some predators approaching and prepares to fight, but her partner soon appears and manages to drive them away. After a battle where he had a great disadvantage, the human enters the cave and Fang tries to get up to help him, but her leg has not yet fully healed. This being the case, Spear tries to calm her down and comes up with the idea of using the invading cockroaches as weapons to attack the predators. Determined to help her friend, even though she is still wounded, Fang gets up and leaves the cave to support him in that fight, eliminating the entire pack at once. In a remote part of the forest lives a large family of Brachiosaurus. While feeding, one of them is surprised by a small, strange-looking dinosaur that is clearly suffering from some disease. After having its paw bitten, the Brachiosaurus throws the little animal away and it ends up dying. A few minutes later, The wounded dinosaur shows the same symptoms